The year 2009. The visionaries, Dr. Nicolette Bethel and Philip Burrows. The vision: to create a theater festival to expose local audiences and attract international visitors to a wide range of world-class theater from around the world. A theater festival designed to provide the opportunity for local actors, playwrights, and directors to refine their craft.
For us, it started when I was teaching theater arts at Lester B. Pearson College in Canada. Nico was there already. She had been teaching English and then she moved into teaching anthropology. And the president of the school came to me and said, "There's this festival I think you should take your students to." I had introduced the IB Theater Arts program at Pearson. And he says, "I think you should take these students to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival." And I thought, Oregon and Shakespeare? That just didn't click with me. You know, I think of Shakespeare, I think of New York, London, whatever. I don't think of Oregon. So I read up a little bit about it, and then I I had 14 students. 7 went in one van and 7 went in the next van. Nico drove the other van, and we went to this festival. It blew these people away. It was an incredible thing. I mean, some of the students were reluctant to go, and they came up to me at intermission and they was like, "Thank you so much for bringing us." And so we were there, and both Nico and I realized that this town of Ashland, Oregon, which was, I would say, from Elizabeth Avenue to the British Colonial, that's the whole length of the town. They do this festival from February to November. That's what runs the whole town. The whole town runs off this festival, and it's brilliant. And it's called the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, but it had Shakespeare, but it also had other works, original works, and all these sorts of things. And we would constantly have these conversations because we'd walk from where we were staying, Siskiyou Center, and we'd walk to the theater. And they had 3 theaters, a sort of proscenium theater, what is considered like a black box, and then they had this Elizabethan partially outdoor theater where they did some of the Shakespeares. And we were like, you know, if this could run this town, we could definitely do something like this in Nassau. And so we came home, and we first started by doing our first ring play production, which was Macbeth, at College of the Bahamas back then. And then I think the thing that really pushed it over the edge was we had prepared everybody. We were ready to go to Carafesta. We had been to Trinidad. We were ready to go to Carafesta. We were ready to host Carafesta. And the powers that be at that particular day said, "We're not going." So we're like, well, you know, we can't go to that festival. We can create our own festival. And that's sort of how it kind of came about. Nico was director of culture at the time. And she was in her office and she said, you know, we're going to start up this festival, trying to think of a name for it. And Patricia Bazard said, "Why don't you call it Shakespeare in Paradise?" And that's where the name came from Patricia Bazard. Nico and I were 100% in. Reds was kind of fully in. Everybody else was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And midway through, I remember us having this huge press thing at Grey Cliff, because that's where we had our opening sort of reception, and everybody was like, yeah, okay. And you know, and everybody was on board, and everybody's been on board ever since. And 10 years later, here we are.
Normally we have 2 signature productions. Normally we have the Shakespeare and something Caribbean, Bahamian, musical that people could relate to. Which sounds like I'm saying people can't relate to Shakespeare, but normally we have 2 things at 2 ends of a spectrum. But this year we also added a 3rd signature production, which is Short Tales, which is a series of 10 original plays, short plays, written by 10 local authors and directed by 8 local directors. And the whole idea behind it is that we need to build theater. We have to be able to build people who can carry on the Bahamian tradition of theater, which is a great tradition. We are one of the theater powerhouses in the Caribbean, even though things have become a little dormant.
The real thing. I mean, this is a task that, you know, the fact that we're producing a CD, the fact that we're taking a Bahamian artist and we're doing something unique. You know, it's a difficult festival. We calculate that it cost us probably $60 a head to run this. We charge $30 a head and we charge students $10 a head. So everything else has to be raised. And we spend a lot of time begging. I mean, we really go out and we ask and we push, and we specifically for the students to come out. You know, we've had over 25,000 students attend this festival. We've had student artists who have drawn the t-shirts and stuff for the festival. And so we have a very heavy focus on that, because that's your future audience and that's how you build and that's what you do. And so that's been important to us from the very first year. And that has actually grown. I think we started the first year with 3 matinees. In this year, we're doing 10. And I think last year we might have even done 10 as well. So, you know, you know, between the 2 spaces that we have now, that has also helped the situation.
Now, there are a whole lot of fabulous actors out there. But what I feel is missing from the theatrical scene is a whole lot of different kinds of works. There's a trend to write the same thing again and again, and writers and directors are generally the same person. Like, I write my play and then I direct my play. But there's a limitation to that. If you direct your play, you're gonna just continue to reinforce the vision that you had, and, you know, you're not making the most of theater as a collaborative medium. So we wanted to get new directors, new writers, and new actors in short tales. And the one thing is that, I mean, there's not necessarily an overlap, but if you want to be a director and a writer, you cannot direct your own play. Got to direct somebody else's. Got to bring a different vision to life, and you have to give it your own spin. I think we did a pretty good job with that.
There's a great educational outreach, and you know, people need to see themselves on stage and see what, you know, experience their own life and what goes on, and so that's an important part of what we do.
So not only are we producing the plays, we are publishing the plays. So if you get your play selected to be in short tales, we will publish it in a book that we want to sell, we want to distribute to the schools if possible, we want to just put out there. We'll send it around the Caribbean if necessary. We just want to jumpstart a whole new generation of local Bahamian playwrights and directors.
Easy money, easy come, easy go. They say money is the root of so much evil, but I never had none, so I wouldn't know. No, 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 honey. You see them speeding here, you see them speeding there, in and out of traffic, you see them speeding there, don't get on the traffic, they pick up everywhere, race, they must stop.
Well, I got involved with Shakespeare in Paradise. I think when we did Music of the Bahamas, the first production we did. I got involved primarily because I came back from university and had not had really any cultural musical experience. I came back as a classically trained musician, and Joanne Calendar gave me an opportunity to work on her 40th anniversary concert, so I got involved with the Bahamian genre in a classical sense then. Philip Burrows invited me to come into Music of the Bahamas. I had seen it in its original production, but I had not worked on it. And here was another work of Clement Bethel. Now, Clement Bethel is my hero in music, and has always been. I was a singer of his in the Renaissance Singers at age 16. So I have adored Clement. I have sat at his feet. I have learned every nuance of his moves from him. So an opportunity to do his work, this was his master's thesis brought on the stage, and I was very happy to be involved in that. And then after that, I got involved in Sammy Swain, another epic production of Clement and Cleophas. And after that, we did Once on This Island. So here I am now with another production. So I'm like the resident musical person for Shakespeare in Paradise, which I am very happy for, I want to say, yeah, because I would not normally have done it. And so I'm happy to be involved. Every year there's something new going on with Shakespeare in Paradise on the musical level. And so it's my pleasure to be involved in it once again here with this particular production. Eventually, Philip said, well, Fred Ferguson is rearranging these 25 songs. Do you know them? Well, I grew up in 80 Minutes, so I know all of this music. And I said, this is really interesting. I want to be a part of the process. And then he said, well, you know, we're looking at the music, and I think we need someone to help the choir to learn the music because, you know, I can hear the harmonies, you can hear them, but perhaps they don't know how to get the harmonies. So I inboxed Fred on Facebook, and I said, okay, bro, I'm helping out with this. And he said, oh yeah, I know. Can you send me the score? And he said, what score? There ain't no blank score. I was like, how could there not be a score for a musical? He said, well, it's in my mind. I'm sitting at my computer. I'll send you the tracks. And you, since you're so brilliant, you score it. I was like, For the most part, Eddie Minister's music is in one key, well, maybe 2 or 3 keys, but he has a limited range as a singer. But then you have to create ranges for other people to sing. So you have to create parts. So that's my role in this situation, is creating new parts to the songs so that each person on the stage has a part to sing. So that's how I got involved now. But then having done that, then to teach it to the choir. And to teach it from original written score, nothing computerized, just in my sort of hand. We sort of sat in this very same room, and I played it, and it's okay, you're gonna have to remember your part. There's no score to carry home. I'm playing it, you remember it. We come back for a week, and we did it every night, religiously every song, so that they would remember it. And as we went along, we've been teaching it and reminding them of the parts of the song, so that when they get on the stage, it does make musical sense, and it is true to the originality of the piece that Eddie Minnis wrote.
As an English language and literature teacher, we are required to teach and study Shakespeare with our students to pass the national examination. But it goes a little deeper for me than that, because once you study Shakespeare and you delve into his works, it opens your mind to a new level of thinking. And for students to do that, it moves them beyond surface understanding of the text, because now you have to synthesize, really evaluate, deconstruct the language, look at the plot, the themes, and that's what we really want to facilitate, critical engagement, so that we can have nation builders. So this is exactly why we have to continue studying it. But if you only study it, you do a disservice to yourself. Shakespeare wrote his plays to be performed. So you have to see them on stage, because as a director, once I see the actors get on stage and they're performing, I learn something new every single performance. So you can imagine what that does for students who are reading it and then get to see it perform. And not just that, anyone who sits in the audience, they have to really think when they're sitting and listening to Shakespeare, because it's not the easiest thing to understand, but it's not impossible. When Shakespeare wrote his works, he did for his contemporaries of the time, discussing hot button issues. And if there's anything we know, history repeats itself. And so at any given moment, what we're experiencing has already happened before. So when he explores these themes like love, war, hate, politics, loss, betrayal, it's relevant to us. And so I don't see any other reason why we should not continue to have Shakespeare productions here in the Bahamas.
Shakespeare in Paradise has done world-class productions. Every time they come out the boat, it is world-class. And Bahamians are seeing it for cheap. You can't see a production like this for $30 nowhere in the world. You better run to the Dundas quick and see it, because you ain't gonna see it like that anywhere else. That is well produced, that is well thought out, that is well acted, that is well sung. And we have that here in abundance in this little country we call the Bahamas.
If you want to be a director and a writer, you cannot direct your own play. Got to direct somebody else's. Got to bring a different vision to life, and you have to give it your own spin. I think we did a pretty good job with that.
After 10 creatively successful and culturally impactful years, Shakespeare in Paradise is still going and still requiring the support of any and everyone who cares about the future of the dramatic arts.
speeding here, you see them speeding there. In and out of traffic, mash the brakes. Too late. End up in front of the magistrate. Next thing Johnny knew, he was out of job. No job, no money, no woman. Except, well, maybe just one. Me, a.k.a. Common Animal. Smart girl. Not so practical. She was intelligent, but she had no beauty to compliment.